5:30, you can go ahead and call the meeting order. So, this is our meeting of December 4th, 2025, last one of the year. We do have public here, so in compliance with California Brown Act, the District Board of Directors welcomes comments from the public. It's the opportunity for members of the public to directly address the District Board of Directors on any item of interest to the public under the jurisdiction of the district, including items on the next agenda. Persons wishing to make a presentation to the board shall observe the following: a written request, which is provided at the board meeting, which is optional. All my years on the board, I've never seen anybody fill one out. So oral presentations are 3 minutes, are going to be regulated to no more than 3 minutes, and members of the board are afforded the opportunity to speak at the beginning of the public meeting during the general public comment section of the agenda on any item under the jurisdiction of the district, as well as during the consideration of any item on the agenda for the public meeting. The 3-minute time limit will be cumulative to a person's comment. With that being said, anybody wish to make a comment? And no, we'll move right along. Okay, first thing on the agenda is our consent calendar. Our first of our consent calendar, and I know that Mr. Pringle has been waiting patiently to address the board on this month, so please.
Thank you, sir. All right, good evening to our board of directors of Valley Hospital District leadership team and guests. ORC has achieved a census of 99, or actually 100, in the prior month of operations. This makes 3 consecutive months with the census average above 98. Our marketing initiatives remain effective, and we continue to make weekly marketing trips to Memorial for placement of both the short and long-term patients. Our TCU continues to maintain the census capacity. And regarding regulatory compliance, we were pleased to have the results of 2 investigations returned from CDPH. We shared that ONRC was found to have no deficient practices on either investigation.
Very good.
And finally, I'm thrilled to share with you a recent front page article on the Modesto Bee. I requested that we attach a copy for your review. And while Stanislaus County has 18 skilled nursing facilities, only 3 were described as best. And I'm honored and proud to report that ONRC was one of those 3. This honor was not only recognized on a county level in the Modesto Bee, it was also printed in the national magazine U.S. News and World Report. And U.S. News noted ONRC as a best skilled nursing facility in its national ranking. This is an enormous professional achievement, and ONRC will celebrate this month with the employees for a huge appreciation.
That's good. Absolutely wonderful. I looked up that little news report article just to read it. That was very, very nice, very comprehensive.
And we have only 14 or 15% of the 15,000 skilled nursing facilities nationwide achieve this. So top 85% or top 15%. It's a good number.
Yeah, I went and hung out with Will and Matt while they were giving away turkeys and hams, and Will was able to inform me of all of these articles, so that was very nice. Okay, I need to back up just a little bit before the meeting started. I was supposed to read this. We need to add a item to our agenda tonight, and I would like to move that the following open session agenda item be added. Consider approval for the purchase of urology equipment not to exceed the amount of $200,000, and authorize the present CEO to execute any and all necessary documents in connection with the purchase of said equipment. So it takes a 2/3 vote to add that to our agenda tonight. So consider a motion for that.
Motion.
Okay. I have a motion by Director Shipley.
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Director Sanders. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that will be added to our agenda for this evening. And also, we will make one other correction. It does not need to be voted on, but we are going to move resolution 2025-07 up near the 2506 this evening, so we'll take those on in order. Okay? So other than that, we'll move right along. We have approval of the minutes from November 6th, 2025. If everybody's had a chance to go over those, any corrections or changes that would like to be made? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve. Okay, I have a motion to approve by Director Freeman,
I'll second it.
seconded by Director Sanders. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Okay, the medical staff report, Dr. Forster.
Yeah, thank you. So, I believe you guys have a copy of the report there, but basically our last meeting was on November 18th. With a lot of discussion about various policies, and manuals that need to be updated, routine review. They're all listed there after discussion and review by the various committees. We have this for your approval for the board. So, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. It was a lot of reopening the ICU required a lot of review of ICU policies. That was the vast majority of the discussion. Other than that, it was kind of just routine policy reviews.
Well, tonight I have no questions about any of them. And you're right, it's plentiful here. So, unless there's any questions for Dr. Telstra, we'll entertain a motion to approve. Okay, I have a motion to approve by Director Shipman, and seconded by Director Krieger. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Okay. Does that bring us to finance committee? Okay, Mr. Hunt?
Okay, as reported out in Finance Committee, just prior to this meeting, although our census didn't quite draw a perfect comparison to how high our revenue was, we talked about the reasons for that, meaning we had some catch up on some accounts that needed to be coded, and our system doesn't capture that revenue until those accounts are coded. And with the transition to our new revenue cycle partner, there was a little bit of delay in that, as well as having a significant number of positions rotating through the emergency department. And so we got all of that caught up, and we saw a much larger gross revenue amount in the month of October, again, compared to our census in our statistics that we look at. All that being said, the district posted a profit after all expenses of $1.8 million in the month of October. Profit, including the new hospital expenses, so if you subtract back out of that depreciation on the new building and some interest expense, that we experienced a cash profit of $1.49 million. As of October, year-to-date earnings before interest and depreciation, or EBITDA, was 15.7%. Accounts receivable gross days and AR decreased from 67 to 63. Days cash on hand also decreased. In Finance Committee, we talked about the reason for why days cash on hand decreased when our gross days and AR decreased. Single reason why is we had 3 payrolls in the month of October, and that third payroll hit virtually the last day of the month, and so we didn't really have a lot of time to rebound on our cash. I will say that the revenue cycle partner is doing a good job. We have some work to do to get them to being able to perform, do a great job. But Atilia and Amanda and Chang and myself, we all
That is an action item, so if we have any questions for Matt, please feel free. If not, go ahead and entertain a motion.
Motion that we remove the community building guideline and adoption of the associated resolution.
We're not quite
Okay,
there yet.
we're not
Oh,
quite there.
sorry.
That's all right.
Back up.
This is
Just
just the
the
final.
final.
Well, I'll save that.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Okay, sorry, I got that messed up. So we're doing the financial report?
Yes.
I move that we accept the financial reports for October 2020.
All right, I have a motion by Director Krieger,
I'll second that.
okay, second by Director Sanders, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Okay, we're down to chairperson's report, and I will say, very briefly, happy holidays. We're in that season, so, you know, it's the time for not only taking care of our community, giving and sharing. And we here at the hospital have already started this process. I was very pleased when I visited the turkey and ham giveaway. That was, I mean, it was a lot of fun. People were coming out. If you didn't see it on Facebook, you know, we had one of our administrators dressed up as a turkey. The other one dressed up as a dude. Giving those away, it was very interesting, it was fun, and it was very well attended. The next day I drove by in the late morning and it was done. You guys have completed the entire task. Another thing I will say is very pleasing as the time that I've spent on this board is to see the amount of personnel that we are able to hire and get this, and get all of our departments up and running, not only just the ICU, but the number of mid-level practitioners that I see on the credentialing report is huge. And it takes all of those people working together to have not only an acute care facility, but one that thrives. And that's what we're going for, is one that absolutely thrives. And we're trying to open up those new procedures and those new markets. And to be successful, we're going to have to really push that envelope, and we're doing that. And I appreciate everybody's hard work into those areas. It's easy for me to sit here and say it, but it's you that do it. And I do appreciate them. So, thank you. Okay, with that, we'll hand it back over to our CEO, Mr. Honey.
Okay, a few announcements before we really start, or items to talk about or report on before we start moving through the rest of the somewhat lengthy CEO report. DaVita went live with inpatient dialysis on 12/1, so that program is up and running, and we're ready to take care of any patients that require inpatient stays and also have a need for dialysis. We are in the process of solving the equation from an interventional radiology standpoint. We have a couple of different options, one being a Modesto option, another one being the same partner that we've selected to do all of our radiology reads and soul radiology. So we're evaluating what partner is going to be best for developing an interventional radiology program. It's been impressed upon me that from both Dr. Gussar, urologist, and Dr. Gazy, general surgeon, and we'll talk about her here in a second, that we need to really develop a full IR program that's comprehensive. So we're trying to figure out the best direction that we need to move in as far as getting that program up and running. So stay tuned on that. ICU update, fall of 2025 still continues until December 21st. Although I now think that we're in the winter since we're in December, but technically we haven't hit winter solstice. So the banner outside is still correct. As far as the update is concerned, there are so many hoops that we have to jump through to reopen a suspended unit, not even a closed unit. first robotic surgery on December the 11th. So that is a surgery with, I think, Dr. Tilstrom and Dr. Gage, right? So two of our premier surgeons doing surgery on the robot for the first time next week. So right around the corner, two surgeons, same patient, one RNFA helping, a couple of circulators, and probably a whole host of additional supporting cast to make sure that we don't have any hiccups along the way, which I have no concerns that we will, and everything will just be very smooth. So excited to get that first one underneath our belt, which again is right around the corner. From a non-STEMI or NSTEMI point of view, many of the NSTEMIs have historically transferred out of this organization. We've been working with Dr. Syed, our cardiologist, to develop a NSTEMI inpatient program, and a component of that is the treadmill stress testing on these patients to rule out an MI. And so that is soon to be up and running. I have a note here that says in progress, so that's right around the corner. From a physician standpoint, I believe that since we met last time, that's why I put her name on here. Dr. Gazy has signed her agreement to partner with us in a full-time capacity. She is a general surgeon who does very extensive general surgery procedures. So her first day here is December 11th as well.
Okay.
She'll continue her surgical day after the partnered surgery with Dr. Tilstra, and she's doing a thyroidectomy.
Correct.
And a what?
Hemorrhoidectomy.
And a hemorrhoid. So, I guess we got both ends. And one right in the middle with Dr. Tilstra. So we're covering the entire human body in day one. We also, as far as another physician update, just to to make it clear to the board and the organization, we were working very closely with Central California Surgery for bariatric partnership, and if you all recall, Stanislaus Surgical Hospital closed down, and then we lost some bariatric equipment, got a bariatric program up and running, and we were excited about Dr. Warren coming. Well, at the 11th and a half hour, Dr. Warren took a trauma position at Sutter, and that whole group, I think, reevaluated what that group was going to look like in the new paradigm of the GLP-1 pharmaceutical, and primarily because the need for surgical intervention for bariatric reasons is down, and what I pulled from that group, down 70%. Their surgical volume year over year has dropped 70%, and so there's not enough bariatric volume to support 3 surgeons doing bariatric surgery with a smattering of general surgery. So in addition to Dr. Corin going to Sutter, I think Dr. Coates is very close to committing to Sutter, although I haven't received that final confirmation in their trauma program. But Andy Huber, Dr. Huber, still wants to continue down the bariatric path. And so much like we worked with Dr. Higazy in her practice and developing a partnership, I'm working with Dr. Huber to develop a similar partnership where all bariatric cases that come out of Central California Surgery that are conducted by Andy Huber, Dr. Huber, will come to Oak Valley. And he will continue to have his practice in Modesto. It will be a joint partnered marketing or presence from the community's outward perception, and much like what we did with Dr. Gaze, we did with Dr. Huber. And so we're still working through those details. Biggest hurdle with that is that many bariatric surgeries are health plan San Joaquin, so managed Medi-Cal, and they pay us terribly. And so I'm working with Health Plan San Joaquin to try and increase our reimbursement on some of those cases. Otherwise, it just doesn't make great financial sense for us to do that. Additionally, on the physician front, we had a in-person interview after a phone interview or video interview with two family medicine physicians, husband-wife team, outstanding candidates for our community. I mean, like, banner family medicine doctors. And so we're very close to helping to finishing to encourage them to come to Oakdale and set up primary care practice here in our community. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a line out their office door trying to get in. Their personality is fantastic. Their clinical training is unbelievable. The female family practice doctor, she has a love for helping to train young doctors and grow residents in the world of family medicine, and they're just a dynamic duo. And so we're very close, hopefully. I hope that at the next board meeting we can report out that they have committed fully to coming to Oakdale. So continuing to try to make a dent in the primary care desert that we live in here in Oakdale. So we're getting close. A couple other last just fun items. The doctor board Christmas party, that's next week, at capacity. So every slot that we had open for that Christmas holiday party for our physicians and our board, they'll all be filled. So it will be at Bistro 120. It'll be in that front room at Bistro 120. Danielle's looking at me like, maybe I didn't get an invite. But
I
you
didn't
should.
get an invite, but
Should.
okay.
Talk to Cheryl, but it is for our board, it is for our providers, it is a way to come together, and talk about commonalities, not so much work. We're gonna have a magician that's gonna come and entertain us. So we'll wait till the libations have kicked in before he starts the program, and maybe it'll be more entertaining. So that is next week as well. And then on the heels of that, so next week we've got Monday, the big Christmas tree lighting out front. Danielle promised me, or swore to me, that if I lit that Christmas tree before the small town Christmas event on Sunday, that
You'd be in big trouble.
I would be in big trouble. So we are doing the Christmas tree lighting on Monday. And I totally have this vision of taking two electrical. Not a National Lampoon's Christmas, but a Elm Valley Christmas. And that tree out there, which interestingly enough, I was talking about it during our all staff meetings a couple of weeks ago. I made some random comment that, it's gotta be the largest pie-ish tree in Oakdale, but I didn't know what kind of pie tree it was. Well, 2 days later, I got an email from one of our staff who figured it out, and it's called a canary pine, native to the Canary Islands, and they normally don't grow 130 feet tall, which is the height of that one. So it's gonna light up, and Danielle, thank you for all your help
You're
on
welcome.
that Christmas. We got a whole bunch of little gifts underneath it, so it's gonna look like a real Christmas tree, and it will light up that whole corner of our campus.
It's good. Yeah, there's a lot of homes on that.
There's a long bunch. So we have that Monday. Tuesday, we have the ribbon cutting robot event. And then Wednesday, we have we have 1 day off. And then Thursday, we have our physician board party. And then Friday, the holiday party for all of the Oak Valley employees. We're allowing them to bring a spouse free, or a partner free of charge, +1. And it's going to be the Rite Aid. And we're going to transform the Rite Aid into kind of a fun venue with food and entertainment and music and all kinds of crazy stuff. So y'all are all welcome to that. If you want to see our stuff, get a little rowdy, come over there. There's not enough parking for all of our employees to park there, so we're going to have hopefully, if the board approves, no pressure. My dogs were pulling the gas lighting. If the board approves Will's shuttle tonight, hopefully we'll have a shuttle do the Rite Aid to help our employees, at least use the Rite Aid and back to their car safely. So that's next week. It's gonna be a busy week, it's gonna be a fun week, and, super excited about it, so. That's what I have, Mr. Chairman, under item number 1. Okay.
Well, please continue, that's good information.
Yes, thank you. I'll do it a little quicker. Item number 2, consideration, this is a resolution, so resolution 2025-06, consideration of the renewal of the $3 million line of credit and adoption of associated resolution. The resolution is in your packet. This was talked about briefly at Finance Committee. We always like to have our little line of credit with our local bank. As our IGTs go out, supplemental payments come back in, there might be cash crunch times here and there, because it does have a result of significant swings in our cash. But anyways, that's up for resolution approval as item number 2.
Are there any questions? Okay, I need a motion. And a second.
I will motion,
Okay,
to authorize the renewal of commercial development.
okay, I have a motion by Director Shipman
Also,
and a second by Director Krieger. I need a roll call.
Chairperson Henry,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Krieger,
Yes.
Director Shipman, Director Sanders,
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, that was quick. Item number 3 was item number 5, so it's moving up. This is also a resolution 2025-07. The resolution of an intention to issue tax exempt debt to finance capital equipment, facility renovations, upgrades, and facility expansions, expressing official intent to reimburse certain expenditures. And we've got on the line Adam Bauer, who is going to explain this to the board, kind of what we're thinking about here. And I had a note, but I haven't misplaced it. Essentially, this allows us to have the ability to take our bonds that are not tax exempt and move them to tax exempt status. And so, Adam, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk more about this. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. And the purpose of the resolution before you this evening is it's called a reimbursement resolution. And what that allows is for the district that spends any funds on capital projects within the next few years, those projects could potentially be eligible to be reimbursed from bond proceeds. And while you might say, I have no intention to issue any kind of bonds, these are general fund bonds, I have no intention to do any of that, you do have a refunding that's coming up. And the refunding has higher interest rates, that's why we'll be able to refund it in a number of years. And also it has taxable interest rates. So by having this resolution in place, it in no way commits you to do anything, but what it does is to the extent that you have capital outlay, when we do that refinancing, we'll be able to take a portion of what was taxable, make it tax exempt, and lower the interest costs even further. So it's a reimbursement resolution that allows you to reimburse yourself from bond proceeds in the future. You have a double benefit here because you have this other bond that at some point will refinance. This is a resolution that just gives you optionality, in no way commits you to do anything at this point in time. And so we really, when we're looking out at kind of how do we help you plan for the next few years, how we design that funding to really help set up some options for you in the future. This was another thing that we looked at and said, if we adopt a resolution like this now, it could potentially allow for some additional savings when we do that refunding down the road. So it's just a proactive resolution, nothing that you have a lot of pressure to do. We just wanted to have you have that in place.
So by doing this now, we open up the future for any negotiation or refinancing of bonds or any new bonds that we happen to go after, whether we do or not at this point. And we can make at least a portion
That's
of those
exactly.
tax-free.
that's exactly right. You said it well.
Thank you. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Are there any other questions for either Matt or Adam? Okay, well, then we will need a motion in a second.
I will motion to.
Okay, I have a motion by Director Shipman for resolution 2025-07. Seconded by Director Sanders. Roll call.
Chairperson Hudgens,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Griffith, Director Shipping,
Yes.
Director Sanders.
Yes.
All right, motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for accommodating our schedule. Have a good week.
Thank you. Okay, the next item, information update. So I'm gonna ask Chief Hunter, Dave Hunter, to come up and talk just briefly about the ambulance quarter update, in particular the bidding component. If you all recall, we did decide to put this through a formal bid process. The newspaper ad was run, the appropriate amount of time. We received 2 bids. Sealed envelope bids came directly to me by the actual contractors, and both bids were open at the time that they needed to be open, and we chose the lower of the 2 bids. They were very close, actually, interestingly enough, within a few $1,000s of each other, but we did end up going with the lower bid, and so Dave, you want to provide?
Thanks for the update. No, everything that Matt said is correct. We did go through the whole process. We did pick the contractor, and we were back underway again. You probably noticed a bunch of commotion going on. I was with PG&E and the main contractor today for quite a bit. We're moving quite fast. I really hope to have the house on the property by the end of next week. I think our biggest delay is going to be PG&E, although we have some connections in the city that might help us push that along. So, this fall, we'll have it up and running. Yeah, that was the biggest, that was.
This fall.
This fall, like,
Yeah.
within the next,
Before winter solstice, before winter
Next 18
solstice.
days.
No, not quite that fast, but it's moving along really well. They're building out or remodeling the garage. They've come a long way in that as well.
No.
Yeah, stay tuned. Matt, did you want me to mention how much the contract was?
yeah, what was awarded the total amount?
It was $126,397 at OPEB. We're happy.
Not bad at all.
In addition to that, we do have the triple wide, right, that was already purchased. In total, do you know the total amount where it's all gonna come in at least where we stand right now?
To get the triple wide moved over, it was already on, separated on 3 different parcels. It was already on the massive trailer, so we didn't have much of a choice. It would have been quite expensive to try and find somebody else to move it or put it out to bid. It was already on the trailers, so it was a total of $25,000 to have it moved over, put back into one piece, and repair all the moving issues, sheetrock, everything on the inside, which was a really great price. There are a few other additional costs. PG&E, I met with PG&E today. That was fun. There's going to be a few costs in moving the gas line over and running from the transformer on the street there, which is something that we can have to do with PG&E. That's it. Thank you. Unless you have any questions. Nothing else.
We're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I was always told to, thank you, Dave, by the way, for the update. And now that I'm looking at the remaining portion of the CEO report, I failed to follow my own rules, which is give some good news, a little bad news, and sandwich it all together at the end with some good news. In this particular case, I'm ending all of the rest of the CEO report with asking for money.
Right.
So, we'll just start at the top, I guess. So, yeah, The operating room 3 will be our robotic room. And for those of you who, I think all of our board have seen OR3, it's for the most part done. It doesn't have the light boom, it doesn't have the other boom that houses monitors and such. It doesn't have monitors on the wall to broadcast what is being seen in normal rooms to be what's being seen laparoscopically, and in this case what's being seen robotically, so everyone can kind of visualize what's going on. It also doesn't have any permanent cabinetry in it, and no equipment. So we've made it through the big hurdle, which was the robot. And if the board chooses not to approve the capital for room 3, we can always, the plan was always we can use the robot in room 1 or room 2. It would be more of a move-in, move-out process and less convenient for our surgeons, but it's certainly doable. Having room 3 set up exclusively as a robotic room to include the robot, the table that partners with the robot, and the lighting system that also partners with the robot, and then the surgeon who has the capability of manipulating all components of care as it relates to the surgery through the console, is what we're talking about requesting the board to consider and approve tonight. We have put together what we believe is a good solid number on what it's going to cost to get OR3 up and running exclusively as a robotic room. And so to include architecture, and I think there's a list. Is there a list in the back of the intro? Thank you for that. And I can find it real quick. Let's see. Shirley,
You want mine that?
yeah, thank you. So, it's interesting, one of the biggest components of the cost associated with this project is the architecture. $78,000 just for the architecture component, so the mechanical engineering drawings, and everything that's needed to submit to the state, because the state does have to certify the roof as well, because it's not in at state level considered an OR at this time. So that's a $78,000 expense. But starting up at the top, the capital cost associated with the Baxter light and boom setup is $112,000. Service plan annual, the first year is always free, but then they get you after that. $37,4178 total expense, $116,548. Then the monitors that are going to be hung around the room for visual capabilities on what's going on robotically within the patient, all connected together. Very low expense, $700. Instead of putting permanent cabinets in there, it's been recommended that we bring in rolling cabinets instead. You can see the name of the carts and the price associated with it. So approximately $4,800 for these cabinets. So we put an allowance of not to exceed $5,000. And then the architecture we've already talked about, and then the overall construction of the room. So like painting the lights and the boom and painting and this stuff adds up so quick. Construction estimate is $154,000 for a subtotal of $232,000, and everything added together, the total anticipated cost to get OR3 up and running exclusively as our robotic room is not, the request is not to exceed $355,000. So that's the breakdown of that. David and Dawn and David and Neil will all work to get that done, and Rochelle's leadership in the OR is be very instrumental in that. So I'll be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
What's the timeframe, if it were to be approved?
Yeah, it's, the project's being submitted tomorrow to Oshkosh, so we'll have this thing, have the reviews going on, and they'll have comments, we will submit that, and then we'll have the time to read that, so probably take a few months to get to that portion, similar to happening with IC. And then after that, we won't know what construction is required until they really tell us some issues with the air handlers, and the wall counter is not in there, but that's okay to monitor the walls. It should go with it.
So this project cost in regards to this, there couldn't be any other findings to add to this price, or is that, are we still open to?
We're pretty confident with the numbers. The building is very new, structurally sound. It's not, even ICU with the HVAC units, I was worried about the roof, to be honest. So we don't have those issues in this house. That's not to say something didn't come up, but I'm pretty confident. That room is already built out structurally. There have been some code changes, but really, from my understanding, what I've seen so far, it goes together. And I don't even know that.
This would be one of the only fully integrated robotic rooms in California. So we'd be on the cutting edge with that, because it is the Da Vinci 5, and then everyone else is taking an EV5, as Tilster goes, and puts it into whatever their little ORs are, and make it kind of work. This is a room that's gonna be built up. And the thing about the DB5 is from the console, the surgeon can control, it's not the same. The inflation of the belly, the table, if they want an angle different on the table will do this, the table moves, the lights will move. It's fully integrated. So the size of our rooms gives us this ability, and then we will be fully integrated.
Can I add something? Sure. I think another element here is our surgical volume is increasing, so we actually need just more space to operate. I mean, this is a good problem to have. I've run into the issue, which is the first time in 8 years I've been operating where I've been bumped by another surgeon operating. There's just only 2 rooms, so as our volume increases, that's going to happen more and more. So I think the initial cost is significant. At the same time, I think there's significant down the road benefit, attracting surgeons, increasing our volume. These are all things that are going to add up quickly. And I know it'd be frustrating having just 2 rooms and getting robot in and out. This isn't very great. And
Sure.
It's, I mean, I obviously would benefit a lot from having it, but I think also the hospital would actually benefit. We need more surgical space anyway. And this is a way we can do that in a way that would set the hospital up well for the future.
Rochelle?
If you don't mind my adding to that, to piggyback off of what he said, it allows us to protect the investment of the robot better and steward that, not having to move it in and out of the room, which we can do and be flexible with, but it's a lot of very expensive equipment, and having everything set in one place and in the sub-sterile for it allows us to better steward a lot of money.
And going back on what you said, just going over the numbers, I've noticed that we're 150 to 200% more busy than we were today than we were just a couple months ago, or over last year's numbers. And considering our push in that area and the physicians that are coming here, the surgeons that are going to come here, absolutely agree. We need more space. And just talking to Matt a few weeks ago, I told him that I'm very interested in OR3, and I'm also interested in applying for OR4. So that might be down the road, but that is something that we should be looking at now, seeing what that process is going to be, because it's not nearly as complete as previously.
And I think, there's a lot to be said also just hitting the ground running, stumbling on the blocks on this. We're attracting physicians. I've been coming for 8 years, but we're attracting new physicians. And I think we put our best foot forward as much as possible. And that's going to bode well to attract more business. Work at other hospitals, and I know it's not. There's people looking for other places to go. And so if this is a good place to land, it shows that so far, like, from the board and the administration has been great to building on this program we have going. So I think this just adds to it.
Thank you. Yeah, because we are striving to be very accommodating.
It shows.
Any other questions? Okay, that's good. Well, let's it's an action item.
I will make a motion to approve that.
I'm happy.
Okay, I have a motion made by Director Sanders,
And second.
second by Director Shipman, all in favor? Aye. Let's move on. Okay.
Very happy.
And there is
If you
a
haven't
plan
seen it,
for
or free,
it.
come look at it.
Yeah.
You'll see why.
And there is a plan for it.
And there is actually a plan for David Neal's right, so we'll be there after we.
One step at a time.
That's right. Yeah, one step at a time, that's exactly. Okay, so the next item, that I wanted to bring forward for board consideration, is the agenda item that, Chairperson Cummins added to, the agenda tonight. Dr. Yassar is the urologist that we've been talking about, and we have not done urological procedures at Oak Valley, in a very long time. I don't even know how long it's been since we've done
10 years.
10 years. And just like, anything, equipment outdates, it's obsolete, it's not supported anymore, and if we're gonna bring in a service line like urology, which has the potential to grow very rapidly and exponentially, we need to provide the tools for the surgeon to do their job. And so, this has been vetted extensively with Dr. Yassar, as far as what would be needed for, everything to perform all urological procedures. This is everything from a nephrectomy to a cystoscopy. And so all of these items, are all wrapped up in one package, and the amount that it came out to after negotiating and looking at our GPO and saving and cutting in some places, value engineering, I call it, is not to exceed $200,000 to get everything that's needed for urology to get off the ground and to sail comfortably well into the future. So this is an ask of the board also tonight, and Dr. Yassar can't be here to answer any questions. I did go lunch with him yesterday, 2-hour lunch. Gerald was like, "Where the heck are you? Missing every meeting you have on the books." But I thought it'd be valuable to go lunch with Dr. Yassar, and so we talked a lot about his vision for the program. He wants to grow it into a 2-physician program over time. And he feels like there's certainly enough demand regionally for a 2-surgeon urology program, headquartered, if you will, or run out of Oakdale, Oak Valley, with plenty of population up in Norway and into Modesto, Riverbank, and all those areas. So he's very excited. And so I'm asking for consideration for an additional $200,000 tonight for urology.
We don't have to pack lunch.
I know. It's like the end of the year. Let's get it all done before January starts. I'm saving wills for last. It is the least expensive.
Sorry, Will.
Do we have any questions on the urology equipment? Yeah, the only thing I'm concerned with is the timing. And, we've already realized that our days of cash on hand are getting ready to drop into the low 50s. So with that being said, by the middle of January, we should be back up in very bolsters again. So timing wise,
How quickly do we have to spend that?
that's where I'm going. So when is this expenditure going to happen? When we're down 50 days of cash on hand, or when we're back up?
No, so we will extend the net repayment terms as far out as possible. I like to push for 45 days after the equipment is received and up and running and everything's great. So if you approve it tonight, the equipment likely won't even be here for a couple of weeks. Would be my guess, and then try and push it out another 45 days
gonna be, sending out these funds. Any other questions for, all right, we need another motion.
So moved.
A motion made by Director Sherman, seconded by Director Krueger, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It goes out to,
Now what do we have from Will?
So, rounding out the ask this evening is a very bougie, transportation van, that Will is gonna give a presentation on that. So, well,
Thank you very much for inviting me here tonight to discuss this. When I arrived about a little over 3 years ago or so, one of the first things I did was meet with my management team, and I think like most administrators, you speak to your management team and you find out what is important to the facility, what's important to the community, and what can we do or purchase in terms of assets to make this a better experience for the patients and residents that we serve. And one of the things that I noticed most immediately was a lack of transportation for our residents. And, when you think about skilled nursing, most of what we're charged with is the care of the medical, right? It's the second highest level of care, in an acute care setting. So we often think of it as a very medical setting, and in fact it is. But unlike an acute setting where someone is for a very short stay, you're charged with looking after their care in both a medical way and a social way. Those two things are equally important. And we know that someone's social life and their mental health plays a factor in their overall health and physical well-being. And it creates a sense of, when you have good social relationships and things to do, it makes your overall life experience just better. Well, we've been missing out on transportation here in this district for years. And the nursing homes that I've administrated in the past have always had opportunities for residents to go out and do things. And it's just a very important thing to create joy. Joy is not created in silence, it's created in a community. And we're charged with creating that for them. They're not able to get outside and go somewhere on their own. And typically they don't have the funds or financing to do it if they wanted to. Most of our resident population is on Medi-Cal. And so even if they did want to go to an event in Oakville, they probably would not have the resources to do it. So a lot of that falls on our shoulders to create. So what I'm asking for tonight is the consideration purchase for a mobility transportation van. This van specifically is a 2016 Ford Transit van with about 45,000 miles on it. It's located right here in California, and it's equipped with something called the Smart Floor system. And this is something very important for the use of this vehicle and how it would be beneficial to not only ONRC but district-wide. So this Smart Floor system, you'll see on the packet, I've created some pictures here in this handout. And it allows you to immediately change the seat configuration of this van on the fly. So, for example, I could carry a driver, a front passenger, or 4 wheelchairs. But within just a moment, I can take out that system and I can place in all of these seats. And they're placed in one by one in a very quick locking system. So it's extremely safe, it's easy to use by a driver, and we can very quickly change the layout so that it's effective for whatever the use we have for that particular drive. The vehicle itself has a clean Carfax, no accident history. It's got full service and new tires all the way around. It's completely ready to go. And the plan is to wrap it so it has the same exact branding and colors that we use for our ambulances. So I've spoken with Chief Hunter and have a good connection to get this vehicle wrapped and so that it is branded accordingly. The price of the vehicle is we're asking for an amount not to exceed $65,000 for this vehicle. They run closer to $100,000 when between all the adaptations for mobility and so forth. In terms of the intended use and benefits, there are many. We'd like to provide safe and reliable transportation to residents and to and from medical appointments. So a lot of times, whether you're in TCU or in the long-term care side, we have physician appointments that occur outside the facility. And thus far, we have been paying private transportation to take our patients to and from. This is ultimately a very costly process. Not only that, we will increase the number of dialysis and other medically complex patients we can admit within ONRC with consistent transportation. I myself have noted and started tracking the number of admissions that we have actually denied, and I've spoken about this with David Neal and other VP team, but we've actually denied admissions because we don't have adequate transportation to take them to dialysis, for example, or 2 or 3 times if they may need it a week. I've denied cancer patients because we don't have adequate transportation for the follow-up chemotherapy appointments. And I'm sure if I had my social worker here, she would tell me numerous other patients that we may or may not be able to accept because of these specific reasons. So not only do we improve the lives of others while they're there, we're going to increase the complexity of patients that we take care of. It obviously improves the resident experience. We don't take our patients in outings. That's actually required within Title 22. We're actually required to take someone outside the facility, and for the last few years, we've done that by taking them to tree lightings and things inside the hospital. But with a van, we can actually take them to community events that all of us attend. I mean, I see almost all of us in this room that attend these events in the community. I think of our morning market. I think of our tree lighting. I think of our Christmas, all of these beautiful Christmas things that can get put on by the city, by Daniel. These are things that we'd be able to attend. My patients may not be on the ice.
Oh, please.
Give me a minute, I'll figure out a way.
We'll definitely be there for hot chocolate and to walk the park and admire everything like that. So it was incredibly important to be able to attend these things, when you're isolated in a skilled nursing facility. Also we'll be able to participate in the parades. So I don't know if you've noticed, we all participate in the parades in this room as well. Astoria and Del Mar, they have their bands, they have their residents. They're all participating in these community events, and ORMC is not. This gives us the opportunity to be in the community and have our residents in that as well. Finally, we can safely transport all of our staff to and from either trainings or events. So for example, like Matt had mentioned at our upcoming staff Christmas party, if our van is available, we'd be able to modify using that smart floor system, put it on the traditional seats, we'd be able to use this shuttle system. We could utilize that throughout the district. That actually extends into other areas of the district where you can utilize this van after hours especially for the seldom time, I believe, but rare occurrence where an ED patient may need to discharge back to the community. And we can forego the taxi service. Not rare, okay, great. So that'll allow us to forego the taxi service and again have a branded vehicle in the community returning our patients from the hospital they were served back to the facility. So, just better aware of that. In terms of the cost, it's really kind of a no-brainer. I've worked with Chang in terms of the expenses that we've accrued over the last just 2 years alone. And I will say that we've spent $88,000 the prior year and $103,000 after our census went up. So the more census goes up, the more riders we have, the more expense goes up, the more the purchase becomes an obvious one. So that's really my request tonight, and the reasons why it would be important for this district.
So we can actually tell that it's a cost saving.
That's what I would believe, absolutely.
Well,
Any questions?
Yes, I would actually like to make a comment on this. I think it's a wonderful idea, and also on some of those outpatient ER patients that are discharged at home that actually don't need an ambulance. And although we don't mind, a lot of times we do put them in the ambulance and we'll take them home because we care for our patients. But to have the van, it would free up an ambulance for the 911 system, and they would still get a nice ride home and get taken care of. So it would help a lot in our department as well.
Additionally, it would increase the efficiency
It's
of
definitely
the emergency department. Because a lot of the times, we have other local facilities that send us patients, and then, they don't really qualify for a BLS transport. You can't really put them in a cab when they're a dementia patient, so they have to go some way, and then when I call these local facilities who advertise that they have these shuttle services, oftentimes they get, well, not today, or our driver's not in today, and it can delay. I can literally hold patients for 2 to 3 hours, which takes up a room, because you can't put a dementia patient in the lobby. So it would actually increase our flow and the amount of patients we were able to see too. So I think it's a great idea.
it's great. Thank you. Okay, I end up with 2 of them. One more question.
Would you like me to change that?
Not right now. Okay, we are in Christmas season, but there's. The 65,000, does that cover the cost of the vehicle, the wrap, the whole?
That's the vehicle and tax, the wrap is separate.
No, wrap would be second.
That's the vehicle.
All right. Any other questions?
What's a wrap cost?
On a van like that, I was just looking at the, I think it's a gray color.
It is great.
Yeah, maybe a touch more because we have to go, wrap the whole thing in white to balance it out. So I'm thinking somewhere probably around the $6,000 range.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, eight, so that's fine.
We would use the same one who's been doing all of our new wraps. We found a new one. We bought all their new manuals, and those were pretty good wraps. And he does an incredible job. Really like him, and he's excited to work with us. So we can get really good prices on it.
So even with the $6,000 to $8,000 rack, we're still saving money. Okay,
Absolutely.
Stay on that side of it.
I think it'll help every department. I really do.
And add service for both ER and ambulance.
And quality of life.
Oh, yeah, and getting our residents out and being able to go to community events.
Right.
You know, that's priceless.
So we're gonna have all those crews in the future, it's so nice to have them.
Okay. All right, well, we need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Director Sanders, second by Director Shipman, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Great job.
Great job, Will.
Yeah.
Good presentation.
Very nice.
And that's all I have, sir.
Oh, that's it.
I feel like taking the hammer to the piggy bank, and you guys have been very accommodating, so thank you. You know, I'll just say just a couple of sentences. To have a board that is as supportive of what we're trying to accomplish at our district hospital is rare. I've worked for a lot of boards in my career, some good, some not so good, and some great. And I do appreciate the board that we have here at our community hospital, your support, the thoughtful questions that you ask when we are asking for approval to spend money, the fact that you're out in our community, every one of you trying to do something to promote our organization. And so I cannot say thank you enough to having a great board at a community hospital. And I told Sedan last week when we met, Fran was part of that. I've never worked for a better board. And that is the God's honest truth. And any of them are terribly dysfunctional. So this is a very good board. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yes, of course.
Recently, there was another Facebook post about Elkhorn Hospital, and it was a long list of comments. Only two were not generous to us, which is, you come a long way with regards to this Facebook post, so it's one after one, complaining about this organization. I was very pleased to see that.
We're definitely moving in the right direction, but we need to keep that direction, and we need to do absolutely everything we can to accommodate not only to our physicians or medical staff, but also to our community and every employee that we have working. We do that, we build a camaraderie that not only is our staff, but also reaches out to our communities, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, any other comments? Then it's time to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Turner, second by Director Shipman, all in favor? Aye. We're